So I would like to introduce our next board member for the Long Beach City School Board. Cesar, please come up.
Oh man, you picked the best spot.
Get used to being under the lights.
I know, right? The spotlight.
Get used to it, man. Yeah. Get used to it.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for being here today. I really do mean that. I know Sundays for a lot of you are precious. They're time to rest, so I really appreciate you taking a break over here. I want to thank all the clubs that helped put this together. The Yes We Can Democrat Club, the Hubert Humphrey Democrat Club, and all the individuals that contributed to this, including Lisa for getting the word out, bringing some food, including Ann for working really hard bringing the food as well. So thank you so much. So let me give you a recap of what happened in the previous election. So we began our campaign about October 2017, and from there on we started knocking on doors, we started making phone calls. We didn't do much fundraising, but we decided to focus much of our energies on just having the face-to-face conversations with the voters or some sort of contact with the voters. We felt that that was important. Because at the end of the day, those are the people who we'll be representing. Those are the people who we are accountable to. And so it's important for us to introduce ourselves to them, but at the same time for them to tell us what they see are issues or what they see as working in our school district. So we ran a very good campaign. We had the most energy. We had the most volunteers. We had the most dedicated people. I have said this numerous times, and I have praised so many of my volunteers, people like David and Shirley, people like John, just people like Mary Alice, just so many people that it would be a disservice to everybody else if I start listing them all. What we did is we reached out to over 5,000 people. We had conversations with over 5,000 people. And at the end of the day, 1,500 of them showed up to vote for us. And that's a pretty good number. I know you're thinking, wow, you talked to so many people, but you have to think about this. This is a very low-key election. Usually you get less than 10% voter turnout. And what you also have to think about is the fact that we were outspent by tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
We were outspent probably by over $50,000.
Wow.
That's significant, especially when you consider our district. Our district is the downtown area, and so that means some of those places we can't communicate with the voters there because they're gated communities. Same thing with the ocean communities. And so we ended up getting second place. And I know you're saying, well, second place, why are we celebrating? Well, we're celebrating because second place means that we get one more chance to get first place in the runoff election, which will be on June 5th. So, the thing is, we haven't needed to spend much money. We need to spend send a few more flyers to the voters. But it's been our community, it's been the energy of the volunteers that have gotten us to where we're at right now. And so the reason why we're here is to, first of all, thank you, and second of all, encourage you to continue to help out. Now, the question is, all right, Cesar, remind us what this campaign is about. Okay. So this campaign, from the very beginning, has been about representing our kids in a faithful way. You see, I'm not running for this office just to use it as a stepping stone for another position later on. I'm running for this office because I truly care about our education system. I care about our kids, and this is my world. I've been teaching for the past 7 years, tutoring, if you add that, for over a decade. And so I understand these kids, and every day, day in, day out, I get to hear their needs. I get to hear what it is that they're struggling with. And the heart of a teacher is one that goes, well, I need to do something about that. And so I realized that in addition to being a teacher in the classroom, I can offer my experience and my skills to the kids in my community. And that's why I decided to run for the school board. Now, as I've been talking to parents, as I've been talking to students in their district, I can tell you, first of all, our kids need more community involvement. And what that means is we need more counselors around our kids. As I've been telling some of you, I've been talking to counselors. We have one counselor for 1,000 kids, and that counselor has to bounce around different school districts. How can you build the kind of relationship that these kids need when you have to take care of 1,000 kids. As somebody put it eloquently, it's like all you're doing is just putting out fires. You're not really building those relationships. And I know our councils are working hard, so that's not to diminish their work. It's just too difficult. The other thing that we need, especially in light of what we're seeing with the school shootings, is we need to have adults to promote. We need to have psychologists. We need to have trauma specialists. We need to have people there that if, in case somebody is going through a dark time, they have somebody to talk to. Those are things that we need to invest on. Now, in addition to that, we are seeing a disparity between how our white kids are achieving and how our brown and black kids are achieving. And obviously there are many different ways that we can address that. One of the main ways that we do so is by expanding our tutoring programs. We need to make sure that we have tutors there after school for all of our kids. Now we do have those programs. The problem is that you have 50 kids for one tutor. How is that going to work? It just doesn't. So we need to invest more in that. The other way that we're going to tackle this issue of inequality and inequity is by investing in our early education. That's something that I'm very, very passionate about. Because when you invest in pre-K programs, the earlier we get our kids, the further they go in life. That's just how it works. And what you see is that the achievement gap between white, black, brown kids ends up diminishing the more that you see those kids entering into pre-K programs. The suspension rates drop, the graduation rates increase, and so we need to really take a look at revolutionizing our ideas behind pre-K. I don't know if you know this, but most countries around the world have free, universal pre-K. We as the United States don't. So we need to do our work locally to be able to address those needs. Now finally, I think what you get in me is somebody who understands I don't know it all. And I think as a politician, that's a really difficult thing to say because of course then the other guy can say, oh, you see, he's inexperienced. He doesn't know anything. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I understand that I have my own blind spots. And so I need to hear from people in the community, which is why from the very beginning we have been running a community-oriented campaign.
Powered by the people.
For example, I personally have a lot of experience with our kids with special needs and disabilities. I grew up with a younger brother who has autism, who struggled throughout elementary and middle school, went blind in high school, struggled even more, went through depression, went through anxiety. My parents fought for him, I fought for him. And so I understand the kind of battles, and they're literal battles that parents have to go through in order to get their kids accommodations. But I understand at the same time that I don't know everything about special needs and disabilities, which is why I've been showing up to the Special Education Community Advisory Committee, which is put together by parents in the district who have kids with special needs. And they have opened my eyes to so much that is needed in our district. And so I'm very thankful for people like Steve who showed up today, who is telling me, well, here are the things that are working, here are the things that we need some more work on. Those are the kind of people that I'm going to rely on. Those are the kind of people that I'm going to lean on because I understand I don't know everything. I have a solid background, but I'm going to lean on people like, for example, Maida, or people like Mary Alice, who are telling me, for example, Mary Alice just told me, listen, Cesar, there's this huge gap between our kids who have internet and who don't have internet. That in our district, in the areas that are higher poverty, the kids have to do their homework on their phones. Now, I've known this because that's what I see my kids doing in Downey, but she opened my eyes to what's going on here in Long Beach as well. And so that's something that we need to work on as a district. I've been talking to a lot of my DSA members, my fellow members, and they have been telling me every day, listen, our school district needs to do so much more for our kids of low income, who are low income. And the reason for that is because it seems like there has been a mismanagement of funds where a lot of the money that was supposed to go to our low-income kids ended up going to a more general population. And I think at the end of the day, that issue can be resolved if we open up the school board to more community members. And not just say, although I am saying, but not just say come to the school board meetings, which I think we should, But I, as a school board member, I'm making a commitment to go to the ground and open up forums and open up discussions and roundtable forums to have conversations with parents who maybe can't make it to the school board. That's what I've been doing. And so at the end of the day, that's what you get. You get somebody who understands the school system, who has a deep passion for these kids, and at the same time is willing to improve. And how I improve is by having these conversations with you guys. So thank you so much for everything you have done for my campaign. And June 5th is our election. I really do think we can win this. Now, let me tell you one last thing. Not many political insiders were expecting us to do this well. I swear to you, people to this day are scratching their heads. How the heck did you get outspent by tens of thousands of dollars and still force a runoff?
Because you show up.
Because I show up. And because you show up. Because
Cesar cares about the kids.
I cannot do this without you guys. I've said that from the very beginning, and that's proven to be true. It is your efforts, your energy that forced this runoff. And I do think that's what American politics should be about. And we've kind of drifted away from that. It should be about the power of the community coming together, not about dropping money and printing flyers to drop in mailboxes. It should be about these meaningful connections that we're building together. And I will make this last comment. This is my last announcement for today. We got 1,500 votes. The third place finisher got 1,000 votes. His name is Dr. Eduardo Lara. Now, Dr. Eduardo Lara is a man of integrity. He is a man that ran a very clean, positive campaign, and he has decided to endorse our campaign. And so moving forward, we're going to have his support and the support of his team. And you know what? When you add up his supporters and his volunteers and his energy and you add it up to ours,
We win.
we won in the first round. So June 5th, we need you guys. Thank you so much.
We now know